Today I would like to review my experience with React after doing a single project with it. So the first ever time using it, and I'm going to demonstrate what I did and how I thought it went and my first impressions. So the first thing I did was obviously just Google React, and as you can see, the first thing that you land on is reactjs.org, the official webpage. And I didn't really know what React was, to be honest. Neither had I done a lot of JavaScript. I don't use JavaScript a lot. So the first thing that the React webpage gives you is a tutorial, a beautiful tutorial that you can follow. Very clear, very well done. It's a little OXO game, and I had no problem following the tutorial. In the past, for the UI, there's always been a separation between the code, the elements, and the styling, and React really blurs the line, allowing you to integrate the HTML and it to be automatically rendered when changes appear, which is the big idea behind React, and I thoroughly enjoy it. It allows you to write in JSX, which I had never used, and allows you to introduce HTML into JavaScript instead of JavaScript into an HTML, which makes coding logic a lot easier. On top of this, React auto-compiles once that changes are detected and reloads the page automatically. Obviously, I'm late to the party, but having it now is super cool and would allow to make some awesome UI. One thing I dislike is the complications, and such as the styling makes it quite complicated if you're rendering elements dynamically. I'm not sure what logic I should use, but other than that, it's a lot of fun to write, and I can't wait to do more. So let me present to you my first game. After doing the OXO, I decided to use the same basic setup for OXO to do a game in which you complete the squares. So let me just start it up. The basic principle of a game is there are two players, in this case a red player and a blue player, and they both use the same mouse. Sadly, I'm thinking of making it multiplayer later on to try and color in the square. As you can see over here, you have the example of a 2x2 square, but we'll just make it bigger. Let's make it 5x5 so that it's not that big. Okay, and I'll show you the game now. So the first player plays, and you can click anywhere on here, for example, and then this player's 2 turn. It goes back to player 1, and basically they try and complete. The person who completes this square will then get a point, and will get to play again. So now player 2 can play again and can complete this square and can complete this square, and he's now got 3 points. Then it's player 2's turn. He can't complete any more squares, and basically this goes on until the next player can complete a square. Let me get player 1 to complete a square, and you'll see that it's a different color. Yeah, and then once that there's a winner, so let me just click this close. Obviously, if the side has already been chosen, it's an invalid move. And as you can see, player 2 has 13, so player 2 has 1. Congrats. The way this is programmed is pretty long. So we start off with a square. Said square has a non-click that gets information about where it has been clicked. So we basically divide the square into 4 sections, 4 triangles, and each triangle has each triangle will give back a 0, 1, 2, or 3, in this case clockwise. It has another function which sets the style. This, while it could be really one-lined, a lot of this basically gives it its border when somebody has clicked on it. The board class renders each square and doesn't do much more. Our game component holds all the states changes from the game, so whose turn it is, what the score is, and who has what square. And then we have a few extra buttons such as reset board that resets the board, the more complicated one which updates the score. The score checks that it's a valid move, looks who has clicked it, and checks if he gets a point or not if he closes a square. If all of the squares have been scored, so are either attributed to player 1 or player 2, then we know that the game has ended and we can give the end game message. There is logic to add and to check which border we click and to give the border color of the next adjacent square its color too. And then we have a few CSS animations that get started and stopped. Lastly, we have our render here, which renders everything together. This is a first test and it's probably very inefficient in the way I'm doing it, but being inefficient still allows the React module to only be updated when necessary, and although the data structure behind is not ideal, I already know some performance updates that could be done. It really was quite simple to make and a lot of fun, so I can't wait to make a next one. So personally, React for me gets a good 9 out of 10 stars. I absolutely loved the tutorial and the documentation is incredible. Loads of help online and a great way to start off my journey back into JavaScript.